Hello, it's David D'Angelo here from petfoodreviews.com.au. Today I want to talk about meat first. Now, like many, this is a common marketing ploy to deceive you. We know that our dogs are carnivores and our cats are carnivores, so by saying meat first, it makes us think, oh, great, this dog food or cat food is great for our cat. But the question is there really that much meat in it? Usually, no way near as much as you might think. You'll find that pretty much every dog food or cat food out there will be marketed as meaty. On the front of the bag, you're going to have pictures of chicken or beef or whatever, because we just inherently know that our dogs are carnivore, even though we're told they're omnivore by the pet food industry. And because of that, pictures of meat and slogans like meat first really draw us in. So why does it deceive you? Now, when you consider that ingredients in a pet food are listed by weight or percentage from heaviest to lightest or most significant to least significant, we always assume that the first ingredient is the most prominent. Now, if it's meat, we're thinking, great, must be full of meat. But the reality is the next several ingredients matter. Pretty much anything higher than fat, because usually these are, if fat's 15% or 10%, then anything listed before that is going to be more than that, so 10, 15 cents, quite a lot. Now, what if, consider this, the first ingredient, chicken. Second ingredient, potato. Third, legumes. Fourth, legumes. Fifth, legumes. What you really have at the end of the day is 1/5 of those ingredients to be meats. And 4/5, as in the majority of the dog food or cat food, will be foods that are starchy and full of carbohydrates. Now, 4/5 is 80%. 80% of the main ingredients in the cat food is not meat. Does that sound meat first to you? Now, to make matters worse is a meat ingredient normally is about 70% moisture. A lot of ingredients on pet food are listed wet weight, which means the weight inclusive of moisture, whereas the result in your kibble is going to be a dry weight, so around 30% of what it was originally when it was weighed. Now, this even further compounds that meat may be listed first. Take out the moisture, 70%. Account for the 3 or 4, 5 ingredients that aren't meats, and you're looking at hardly any meats at all in your meat first pet food. Now, there are so many marketing tricks that are used on pet foods across the world. That's one of the most common ones. It's an absolute gimmick. It doesn't mean the food is meaty, and it doesn't mean it's good for your carnivorous pet. All it is emotional marketing, and it's completely, utterly deceiving. Okay, so how can we find a pet food that is actually full of meat? Now, meat first is definitely a good thing, but you need to look at the other ingredients, and if they are a lot of grains or starches, then avoid it. But if they're meat backed up by maybe one carbohydrate, like sweet potato, then you have animal fats, then you're looking at a more meaty kibble formula. You can also look at the amount of protein. Most dog foods will have around 22% protein and maybe 10% fat, which is also quite low. A good quality dog food, in my opinion, would have over 30% protein and, around 20% fat. If your dog has pancreatitis or prone to that kind of condition, then you may want to lower fat. Lower fat tends to mean higher carbohydrates, and carbohydrates are essentially sugars, and they're going to make your dog even fatter and less healthy. Meal ingredients are a little bit controversial. A meat meal, like chicken meal, is protein dense. It's protein dense because the moisture has already been cooked out, which could be a plus. But on the flip side, the ingredient is twice cooked, and cooking tends to remove nutrients. Will remove nutrients. And we don't always know how good a quality that meat meal is. In cheaper pet foods, yeah, it's not going to be a good quality meat, which is pretty common for most pet foods across the world, and even more so in Australia, I would say. But if you're looking for protein rather than carbohydrates, then yeah, a meat meal is going to assure you more of animal protein than it would protein from peas or corn or other cheaper ingredients to inflate protein. Lastly, maybe trust your guts. If a pet food is cheap, it's pretty much always going to be poor quality ingredients, even if the marketing and packaging will suggest otherwise, or if your friend has said, yeah, I feed this brand of supermarket cat food or dog food, and it's great because their dog's still alive at the age of 5, then that's probably not the best sign that that's a good quality pet food. Now, more expensive pet foods, and this is inclusive of kibble, there are good kibbles out there. Generally, the more you pay for, the more you get. Now, when you consider it's very cheap to make a bog standard kibble made out of some meats like meat first and then a load of grain, that can cost a 10th or a 20th of a decent quality pet food made of more meat or even healthier starches, or some peas not too bad, sweet potato over potato skins. There's a lot of range in kibble formulas. Many are really poor and pretty not healthy for your dog over the long term. But better kibbles, like the ones that I may recommend on my website, are going to be much better, much healthier for your dog or your cat. And better than that, start looking at other kinds of food too, like wet food, canned foods, bath, raw, homemade. Don't limit your dog or your cat to one kibble, and definitely don't limit your cat or dog to one brand of supermarket kibble that doesn't have a lot of animal protein or animal fats. I hope that information helps. Follow the website or petfoodreviews.com.au. Thank you.